Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you. People say that don't be busy, be productive. Yes, a good quote to be remembered at this point of time. My dear students, I welcome all of you to my second session on Python Revision 2.2. Yes, in today's topic, I will be discussing the lists in Python. I will discuss the complete concepts about list in today's session. Stay tuned. Moving on to the next one. What is that I'm going to study in list in today's session? Let us have a quick look. So guys, I will show you how to create the list, and also I will show you lists versus strings. So what is the comparison between the list and string? So that is what I will be discussing in the list versus strings, and then I will also show you the list operations. What are all the operations that we have with respect to the list is what I'm going to discuss, and also I will show you the list manipulations, and finally I will discuss the important concepts that you should know with respect to the list is list functions. My dear students, this is what I'll be discussing in today's session. Please get a notepad next to you and make a mark or take a note of it. So whatever I'm going to discuss with respect to the list, so you are going to understand it very clearly only if you concentrate to the class. My dear students, I will explain all these concepts with respect to the programs instead of explaining the theory concepts first. Let me start with the programs, and then I will come back to the theory concepts, and then I will show you the syntax. My dear students, let's have a program. So my dear students, let me start with the first concept, that how do I create the list is what I will explain with the program. Now listen to me carefully. So guys, I have to use the square brackets if I want to create the list. What is that I have to use? I have to use the square brackets, my dear students. So this is what I have to write. Okay, so L is equal to square brackets, which will help me to create the empty list. So empty list in the sense what? I don't have any data items inside the list is what you need to understand. So I have created the empty list. Then what is that I'm doing? I'm just trying to print this empty list. So that is what I'm trying to do in this program. First, I'm creating the list which does not have any elements, that I will call it as a empty list, my dear students. Second one, so guys, L is equal to 1, 2, 3. You need to observe this carefully. So I have given 1, 2, 3. So you need to observe I am using the comma. I am using the comma operator to separate one data element to another data element. So what is that I'm trying to store here? I'm just trying to store the integers, my dear students, in this list. So then after that, I'm just trying to print what is that I have in the list L after storing 1, 2, 3. This is what I will call it as a integer list, whatever the data that I have stored. So that is of type integer. So the next one that I have is A, B, C. My dear students, you need to pay a little more attention here. I'm using the quotes. I'm using the quotes here. For A, I have given the single quotes. So why are you using the quotes here? So since it is a character type, okay, or it is a string type, whenever I'm using a character or string, I have to enclose it with the quotes. So after that, I have to use the comma to separate from one data item to another data item. That is what you need to remember at this point of time, my dear students. Then A, B, C. So I have alphabets in my list. So sir, should I have only one data type in the entire list will be your question now. No, need not to have the only one data type in the entire list. You can have the mixed data type in the list. My dear students, that is what I have tried to explain in the last one. So what is that I have done? So after storing all the elements to the data, after storing all the elements to the list, so guys, I am trying to print this list, and I will show you how exactly this is working. So let's run this program, and then let's have a quick look how exactly this is coming. So guys, the first output, whatever you're getting, so that is empty list. You're getting the empty list as your output. So here I have given, within the double quotes, I have given empty list. So that's what I'm getting, the empty list. So here I have given empty list inside the print statement. That's why I'm getting empty list as a output. So I don't have any elements inside the list is what you need to remember. So what is the second output that I should get? So guys, list contains integer. So guys, so I'm entering 1, 2, 3. So that is my output. So that is what you need to remember. My dear students, third one, list contains alphabets. What is that I have? I have A, B, C. That is what you need to remember. So that is my third output here. And the last one, which contains the mixed data. So which has got both alphabets as well as the integer. That is what you need to observe in this program. So in this program, you should be able to understand how do I create the list, what is the syntax to create the list, and how many different types of lists that I can create. So how many data that I can store inside the list is what you need to understand using this program, my dear students. Moving on to the next program. So my dear students, in this program, I will help you to understand how do I create the list using the existing sequence. What is the meaning of existing sequence, sir? Imagine I have a string. Sir, what is strings? String is a group of characters. Strings is a group of characters. So if I have the string, I will be able to convert this string into the list. So how do I convert the given string into the list? So that is what I am trying to demonstrate with the concept of converting the existing sequence into the list. So my dear students, you need to pay the attention here. So guys, I am just taking the variable L1. Then you need to observe I'm using the function called list. So for that list, I'm just sending the parameter as hello. So this list function will help me to convert the given string into the list. So how exactly my output will look? Suppose if I pass the hello as a parameter to the list function. So my dear students, after the statement, I'm just trying to print. So what is that I have inside the list is what I will show you. My dear students, please look at the output now. You should be able to observe this, my dear students. Each and every character, whatever I have in the string, is treated as individual data item. It is converted into the list with the help of the list function, my dear students. This is how I will be able to convert. The existing sequence into the list, my dear students. Moving on to the next program. My dear students, in this program, you will understand how do I read the data elements from the user if I want to have the elements inside the list. So till now, in the previous examples of the previous program, what I have shown you is I have the list which is having the elements which is already entered by the programmer. But now let us understand, suppose if the user or if the programmer wants to enter the elements inside the list during the execution of the program. So how it is possible? How to store the elements to the list when you are executing the program is what I will show you with this program. So what is that I have to do? My dear students, you just have to look here. So again, I'm just taking a variable that is L1 here. So inside this L1, I'm just trying to store all the elements. Okay, what is that I'm doing? So my dear students, I'm just taking the function again, that is list. So inside this list function, again I'm using one more function, that is input. What is the function that I'm using? I'm just using the function called input. So this input function will help me to take the values, to read the values from the user. So please understand, so this input function, whatever I have, okay, so this function will help me to read the values from the user. So once I read the values from the user, so that will be given to this list function, This list function, again it will convert all the data whatever you have entered into the list form, and it will be stored in the variable L1. So after that, I'm just trying to print this L1. So I'll just show you, I'll just run this program for all of you, and I'll show you how exactly this is working. So my dear students, so it is asking me to enter the elements. So let me just enter the elements. So let me just take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you need to observe here. So I have entered continuously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose if I give enter, let us understand how exactly my list will look like. Oh my dear students, you need to look at this. You need to look at this. This is very amazing. So this function is creating, okay? If I have entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continuously, so my function is creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 different data items inside the list. So this is how, if you enter any data, you can convert it and you can store it inside the list. With this, you will understand the concept how you can read the values from the user and you can create the list. My dear students, in this program, I will be discussing some of the important operations that we are going to perform in list. So what is the first one that we have? So I will be explaining how do I use append function. How do I use append function, and also I will show you how do I perform delete operation in list with the program. So let's start by tracing the program. The first thing that you have to observe is I have taken a list. I have taken a list. What is the name of the list that I have here? I have the list L. My name of the list is L. So inside this list, I have the elements that is 1, 2 and 3. So you need to observe here, I have 1, 2 and 3. So this is what the data item that I have inside the list as of now. So after that, what is that I'm trying to do? So my dear students, I'm just trying to print as it is. Whatever the list that I have, I'm just trying to print it as it is. So once it is done, I'm trying to perform one more operation, that is list.append. So list.append, you need to observe very important concept here. So I have taken L.append. What is this L.append? L is a list that I have here. L is a list that I have here. So for that list, I'm going to perform append operation. For that list, I'm going to perform append operation. Sir, can you just tell us what is this append operation? Append operation in the sense you are going to add that particular element at the end. So that is what I will call it as a append operation. So what is that I'm passing here? My dear students, you need to pass the value which you want to add at the end of the list. So here, what is that I'm trying to do? I'm just giving 4. If I enter 4 here, this 4 should be added at the end of the list. So what should be my output? So I should get 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be my output if this program is working successfully. That is what you need to understand. So that is all about the append. I will show you, I'll execute this and I'll show you. Before that, one more option that we have with respect to the delete. So let's have a quick look with that also. So my dear students, imagine I have this list. So in this list, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. That is what the data elements that I have. So in my list, okay. Suppose if I perform, so if I perform del L2, what will happen? What will happen before that? So I have given list before performing the delete operation. I will just print the list as it is before performing the delete operation, and then I will perform the delete operation, and then after that I will show you how exactly it will look after performing the delete operation. You need to observe that very carefully. I will give you a clue. So I have given 2. So you need to tell me whether I have given the index or whether I have given the data element. These 2 things you should understand. My dear students, I will repeat. So whether I have given the index, this 2 is index or the data element that I have given. So that is what you need to understand. Sir, data element in the sense what? Sir, I have 2 in this list. Am I giving this data value directly or I am giving the index is what you need to observe in this program. I will execute this program and I will show you. Please observe that very carefully. So my dear students, let's trace this output also. So what is the first thing that I have? List before performing the append operation. So before I perform the append operation, my list is having 1, 2, 3. So what is that I have after that? So if I perform the append operation, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 at the end. You need to observe. I have 4 at the end. So what is the meaning of it? I'm just trying to add 4 at the end. So you need to remember, I'm just passing this 4 as a parameter to the append function. So fine. So you understood this first and second. So what is the third one that I have? So list before performing the delete operation. What is that I have? So what is that I have in the delete? What is that I have in this list before I perform the delete operation? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After performing the delete operation, so my list is like this: 1, 2. I don't have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I have. So 3 is not there. So here I have given L of 2. L in the sense my list name. So 2 in the sense, my dear students, it is index. It is index 0, 1, 2. In this location, whatever I have, so that will be deleted. That will be deleted. So you remember carefully, I'm not passing the value, I'm passing the index. Whatever that I have in that particular index, that element will be deleted, my dear students. That is what you need to remember with respect to this delete operation. So hope you understood append and delete. So let's move on to the next one. A very important topic for this session, my dear students, that is functions on list. So you should remember all the functions, whatever we have. So without these functions, you cannot perform any operations with respect to the list. So remember all the functions, whatever I'm going to discuss now, it's very, very important. In total, I will discuss 10 functions with respect to this list. Let me start with the first function that I have is index. Sir, why do I use this index function? So my dear students, look at the program. Let me just explain with the program. So I have given the list. So what is the list name here that I have? So I have the list name as L. I have the list name as L. Inside this list, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 data items. So what is that I'm trying to perform? Look at this next line, whatever I have given. So L dot index of 2. L dot index of 2. Sir, what is this 2 you have given here? What is this 2 you have given here? My dear students, the 2 whatever I have in the list, I want to know the index of that particular data item. I want to know the index of that particular data item. That's why I am passing that value inside the function that is index. Inside the function that is index. So what should be my output? My output should be, so this is 0, this is 1, 2, 3. My output should be 1. My output should be 1. So this is how my index function is working for all of us, my dear students. Moving on to the next function that I have append, which I have already discussed in the previous section. So append in the sense what? You will be adding the element at the end. So my dear students, that is what the append is doing here. The next function that I have is extend. What is the next function that I have? Extend. So my dear students, what is the use of extend here? Sir, I have the list which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I want to add one more list to the same list. So what should I do now? What is that? What is that I said? I have the list which has got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I have one more list, 6, 7, 8. So how do I add these two? How do I add these two? So my dear students, I will be using the function called extend to add one more list to the existing list. So what is that I will do? I will add one more list to the existing list. So with the help of extend function, my dear students, let's have a look. I have L1, already I have L1. So this L2, for this L2, I'm just storing 6, 7. So I have in the L1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just creating one more list, that is L2. In that L2, I'm just trying to store 6, 7. So you need to observe here carefully now. L dot extend. Extend is a function that I'm using. So for that extend, I'm just passing this L2 as a parameter. I'm just passing L2 as a parameter. So extend function will help me to join L1 or L and L2, my dear students. That is what you need to remember. Suppose if I execute this program, so I should get one list, that is L, which has got both the elements which is in the L as well as L2. That is what you need to remember with respect to the extent. What is the next one that I have? I have the next function as insert. So in this function you should remember, so in this function I have given two values. In this function I have given two values, that is 2, 5. That is 2, 5. What is the first value that I have? I have 2, and the second value that I have is 5. What is this 2, sir? Sir, you need to understand this 2 is the position where exactly that I should insert. So what is that you are trying to insert? You are trying to insert this particular value, that is 5. So the first number whatever you are giving is the index, and the second number whatever you are giving is the value which you want to insert. That is what you need to remember. My dear students, pop is a very important function that you have to understand. Pop will remove the last element whatever you have in the list. For example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose if I perform pop operation, 5 will be removed from the list. That is what I am trying to explain with the pop function. And what is the next one that I have? Remove. So you need to understand the difference between pop and remove, my dear students. So pop will remove the last element from the list, but remove will remove the first occurrence of the element from the list. So what is the meaning of it? It's quite confusing. Yes, imagine I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the list. Suppose if I perform pop operation, the 5 will be removed. Suppose if I have one more list, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Suppose if I perform this operation with respect to this remove, my dear students, I will remove 1. So this 1 will be removed from the list. This 1 will be removed from the list. That is, what is the meaning of it? So you need to understand the first occurrence. So first occurrence of the element will be removed. So my dear students, here L dot remove 1 I have given. The first occurrence of this 1 will be removed from the list is what you need to understand from the remove function. Moving on to the next one, I have count. So why do I have count? So you need to observe here L dot count. I have given L dot count of 5. L dot count of 5. What is the meaning of it? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the list. Let us imagine how many times this 5 is present in my list is what we are trying to count with the help of this count function is what I am trying to explain at this point of time. So the next one that we have is reverse. Suppose if I have the element or if I have the data, whatever the data that I have, I wanted to print it in a reverse order. So I will be using the method called reverse. I'll be using the method called reverse. So what is that I have given? L dot reverse. Whatever the data that is reversed, all the data will be stored in the L1. I'm trying to print that L1. That is what I'm trying to do here. And the next one that I have is sort. Sort function will help me to sort the data in the ascending order. So it will help me to sort the data in the ascending order. And the last function that you need to remember, that is clear. So clear will help me to clear or to delete all the data items that I have in the list, my dear students. That is what you need to remember. So I think I have given all the important functions that you should remember with respect to the list. So guys, we have already discussed how to create the empty list, how to have the integer list, and how to have the strings in the list. That is what I'm trying to explain in this slide. And also you should remember, list is mutable. Any content that I have in the list can be exchanged or can be replaced, but it is not possible in the string is what you need to remember at this point of time. So moving on to the next one. So how do I create the list? So this is the square brackets that you should use to create any list is what you need to remember with respect to the creating a list. So moving on to the next one. How do I create the list using the existing sequence? Yes, my dear students, I have to use the function that is list. So inside that I have to give the existing sequence. For example, in the previous example I have taken hello. Hope you remember that. So you have to give the existing sequence. So once you print this L, so it will be printed in the form of list, which we have already discussed in the program. Moving on to the next one. So creating a list from the keyboard input. How do I take the values from the input? User input, that is what you need to understand. So how do we read the values from the user, and how do we convert that into the list is what we have already discussed with the help of this list function and also with the help of this input function. So this is what you need to remember, so with respect to the reading the input from the keyboard. And the next one, similarities with respect to the strings and lists. The first thing that you have is length, my dear students. The first thing that you have is length. The second one that you have is indexing and slicing. Indexing and slicing. The third one that you have is membership operator. The third one that you have is membership operator. And the fourth one that you have is concatenation and replication operator. And the last one that you have is accessing the individual elements. All these concepts are very similar. The same way how exactly you are using with respect to the strings, the same way you will be using that with respect to the list also. My dear students, let's have a quick look with that. First one is traversing. So how do I traverse? The same concept, I will be using the for loop to traverse each and every element that I have in the list. I'll be using the for loop to traverse with respect to the each and every element that I have in the list. The next one that I have is, so how do I perform the concatenation operation, that is join? So I'm using plus to join one list with the another list. I'm using the concatenation operation to perform the, I'm using the concatenation operator to join two different lists is what I'm trying to explain. The next one that I have is replicator operator. So my dear students, replicator operator, so that is star. So guys, I have 149. I have 149. So 149 into 3. So the content whatever I have is 149 in my list. I'm performing into 3. 3 times that content will be printed. That is the speciality of replicator operator. Moving on to the next one. I have slicing. Oh my god, guys, the slicing remains same for the string as well as list. Please remember, this is the syntax. This is the syntax for slicing. Start and stop. Start in the sense what? It will give you the beginning value. Stop in the sense what? This is the end value where exactly you need to stop. For example, you have given the stop value as 10. You should not take the value whatever you have at the 10. So you should take till the previous value, that is 9. Okay, that is what you need to remember with respect to the stop value. And the step value, in the sense what should be the difference from the first item and the next item that you are taking. So that is the meaning of step. That is the meaning of step. So that is what you need to understand at this point of time. The difference between the first item and the next item should be 2 is what I'm trying to explain with the step. Moving on to the next one, I have list manipulation. Append I have already explained. So you will be adding the element at the end. The next one that I have is delete. So my dear students, I will be passing the index. I'll be passing the index. So using that index, whatever the item that I have in that particular index, I'll be deleting it. Remember, I have one more thing. I can also give the range to delete the elements from this particular index till this particular index. For example, I have given 6 and I have given 9. Between this index, whatever the elements that I have, so delete all the elements. That is also possible with respect to the delete function. Moving on to the next one, list functions. I have already discussed in detail with respect to this list functions in the programs. So you have a quick recap of all the list functions, my dear students. So if you understand this list functions, that is more than enough with respect to the list is what I would like to tell all of you. My dear students, hope you have understood all the concepts very clearly. Thank you very much.